What's going on, everyone? Raiden RZ here. It is Wednesday the 15th of February. I hope you all had a great Valentine's Day yesterday, those who it applies to anyways. Although you may not see this video till, I don't know, we've been Wednesday today, probably Friday, Saturday perhaps, of this week. It all depends how long it takes for me to get all the Call of Duty Classic playthrough uploaded, as it is in 89, 90 parts, one of the two. I've not actually done it at the moment, so I'm just taking a wild guess here. That's because I have just this moment finished playing a game about 10-15 minutes ago. Just finished playing, so I thought the best time to make this sort of video would be straight after, while all of my memories, my information, and things that I want to say is still, very strongly kept within my mind. So, where to start? Right. Well, what I will say overall is that I did like the game. It was a good game, but it was a good game for what it was. And I suppose, keep in mind, I am only speaking from a personal opinion here. I am just simply expressing my thoughts and what I thought about the game as a whole. I liked the story. That's one of the main reasons why I enjoyed the game. You see, I've always loved war in general, in terms of its history. I mean, I don't like the idea of frigging bloodshed and people getting butchered like current wars in Afghanistan for no reason at all. But I did like the game for what it was, due to its story, due to it being story based on the Second World War. There was a lot of history involved there. You could even learn something from it, I suppose. I also liked the game because it was long. The game was long. It isn't like today's Call of Duty's game. It isn't like today's Call of Duty games, where it isn't based on the campaign or the story. It's more based on the multiplayer, and that's it. So that's one of the reasons why I think games have lost their ways these days. It's all simply based on the multiplayer because of how strong and how in demand multiplayer is with today's modern generation consoles. Say like with Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, even the first Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4. You're lucky at best to get several hours out of those games, probably even on the hardest difficulty as well. Depends how good you are, I suppose. But with this, we're talking about 15 plus hours out of a first person shooter. That's really good. Some RPGs these days aren't even that long. So that's just a testament to show just how much content was involved in this. And it wasn't even a retail release as well. This, I actually got you probably be able to get this from Xbox Live, but I got this game as a code, as a bonus to Modern Warfare 2 back in 2008, and so I'm very grateful for the content that it has, because I didn't think it would be anything like this. So, moving away from the good, that being, I like the story because I've always been interested in the Second World War, and the fact that it was a long campaign in general. There wasn't really too much to it other than those two aspects. Although they're important to me, there are way too many bads that outweigh the good, if you understand. So let's start off with the most simplest things first. Reloading. For some reason, on various weapons, I couldn't reload my magazine in the weapon. Had no idea why. and sometimes that got me killed because I guess that was also due to being my fault as well, because I couldn't be arsed firing like the last 1 or 2 rounds out of a rifle that only really has 8 bullets in a magazine anyway. But I just didn't want to do it. I wanted to be able to reload, and for some reason, after pressing X thousands of times, it still wouldn't do it. So, you know, well, that's just a little thing. The main things are what is supposed to make this game hard to play in general, because I'm gonna make this go on record now. Putting this on record now. This is the hardest first-person shooter that I have ever played, honestly. And I played loads for the older generation consoles. Games like 007 GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64. That was hard. That was difficult on the hardest setting, but it doesn't hold a candle compared to Call of Duty Classic. Honest to God. But you see, it's hard for all the wrong reasons. It's hard for all the wrong reasons. Let me give you an example. Because of the health, you can only get shot twice, upper body, 3 times if one of the shots like skims your leg or something. But on most occasions, your first shot, if you receive 1 shot, you'll be lucky. You'll be lucky if you don't take 60% damage from your own health, and then you're guaranteed for the second shot to kill you, obviously, because the first shot took 60%. The other ridiculous thing is, let's say, you can pick many examples. Out of the levels. Let's say you go from point A to point B to point C. Now keep those points in mind. The checkpoint system sucks ass. Seriously, it sucks. That was one of the things that drove me mad the most. So you start at point A. You do all the required objectives to move over to point B, but it doesn't auto-save when it should. So after moving from point A to point B without it auto-saving, you continue to point C. Now, if you reach point C, it probably will auto-save. But let's just say you die just before you reach point C. That's it. You start all the way back from point A. So that is one of the main features to this game that made it so difficult. That the checkpoint system sucks ass. Honest to God, it is so annoying. It just doesn't make any sense. And additionally, I'll tell you why. Because on some occasions, it saves too much. Like, I could have just had an autosave 2 minutes prior to the next one. What's the point in that? There is no point at all. I just never understood it. As I was playing through the game, it didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So that again is one of the main features that made this game so difficult. Going from point A to point B, doing several objectives, and when it should save at point B, it doesn't save. So you've got to go all the way to point C, and if you're unlucky enough to die, which happened to me often because with people ridiculously killing you from nowhere, because sometimes enemies just appear out your arse, you've got to start all the way back from the beginning again, and that happened to me way too often. So that's another point which made this game really hard. The next point which made this game stupidly hard was the psychic enemies. Almost gave me an aneurysm. It was awful. The main thing, one of the main features to this game is that you're moving your way down a corridor, and you turn a corner, bam, dead. That's it. That's what also made the checkpoint system so unbearable as well, because the enemies, they're already in position to shoot you the moment you turn around the corner, even though they don't know you're coming. It's like they just assume that you're already there. It's absolutely awful, and at times you'll know throughout the playthrough, if you've already seen it already, that I will take my time going around the corner, because I know someone is going to batter me, someone's going to murk me within a few milliseconds. So let's just say I'm going around the corner, I'm prone, so I'm scurrying across with my elbows, I got my aimer down the sights, and on quite a few occasions, before I've even spotted an enemy, I'm already dead. I don't know, it's really strange. It's like they can see me coming around the corner before I can see them, and I never understood it. I honestly never understood it. It was really strange. And following on from that, the idea that when loads of enemies are approaching, it's just strange. They aim down the barrel of their sights as they're running, coming around the corner, and they shoot you dead before you even pull the trigger. It's just insta death after insta death after insta death after insta death. It was honestly intolerable. I really didn't like it at all. And the last main thing which bugged me the most, and this was one which probably irritated me more than any of the ones that I've just told you, is that let's say you make it through 50% of the level, and you've only got 50% of your health left. Sometimes you can reach parts where it may be necessary to take a shot or two. But how are you meant to take a shot or two when you've only got 50% of health left? It doesn't work. It does not work. And it's not like this is explained to you either. So while you're plodding along through the game, you'll get to a crunch point that you just cannot pass. It is almost impossible. And the only way, really, to get past that point that you can't get past is to start all over again. You've actually got to restart the level again, because you've taken too many hits for you to be able to progress. What's that all about? It shouldn't work like that at all. If I'm going through a level, I should be able to make it through that level regardless of how much health I have left, even if there's only 10%. But it's not like that matters anyway, because if you have anything below 50% health anyway, you're going to die on your next shot. If you're playing on veteranize, like what my playthrough was, it was a veteran playthrough. So that just didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I mean, you bust your balls making your way through a hard level just to be forced to start again because you've taken a hit or two, when sometimes it can happen randomly anyway, especially if you're on a level that you're receiving open fire from left, right, and centre. You don't know if you're going to get shot from behind. It just happens sometimes, like it does in all war games. But the only difference between this one and all of today's modern ones is the fact that if you get shot, you can regenerate your health over time. You just throw in a piece of cover, you sit there for several seconds, and you've regenerated all your health. But you can't do that on this one. So I'm left speechless at times on what I'm meant to do. it's absolutely awful. So, anyways, I guess they're my thoughts on the game in general. So, just to summarise, the good things. I liked the story, and I liked that there was a lot of content in the game. It was a big game. There was much to do. It wasn't just a couple of hours and that's it. If you play this game on veteran, then you're guaranteed for many hours of gameplay. The things which I hated were the checkpoint system. Absolutely awful. It didn't make sense. It was completely random. Sometimes you would get a checkpoint within minutes of within minutes of your last one, and sometimes you'd have to go through half, if not over half a level, just to get a checkpoint. It shouldn't work like that. It's absolutely random. And just one more on that, you'll notice as well on the playthrough that I'll repeat the same process 2 or 3 times because of dying, and then for some reason, while reaching the same part that I died on, I'd checkpoint instead, when it could have checkpointed me 3 deaths ago. You see, it's completely random, and the proof is in the playthrough, trust me. So, the checkpoint system, I cannot stand it. It made 0 sense, no sense whatsoever. The health system, it just, I just don't think it was well thought out at all. I mean, sometimes it's necessary to take a shot or two, but you can't take a shot or two without dying, not on veteran. It's an absolute nightmare. The third thing, the randomness of the enemies, how they always know you're there. They always know when to expect you. There's no you don't feel free at all when playing the game. It's more like, instead of it being a first-person shooter, it's like a survival. Sorry, not a survival horror. Well, yeah, let's say that it's like a survival horror, except there's no zombies or mutants. It's still very much like a survival. You cannot get hit, but yet it's almost impossible not to get hit. So there you have it, I suppose. I did like it, but maybe it was just because the game was old in general. That's why I felt like it failed in all aspects, except for one or two. I just kind of thought that with the game being remade with its graphics, I thought that perhaps 1 or 2 things would have been changed for it to be a little bearable, because surely these people which remastered the graphics for the game would have known that that the game was going to have problems like these, especially on the veteran difficulty. But I didn't play the original Call of Duty 1, so I can't say whether things are the same or whether they're different. All I know is the game that I've played, which is the remastered version of Call of Duty Classic. So there you have it, I suppose. I hope you enjoyed my rant. I hope it wasn't all too random. I'm just hoping that there isn't stuff that I've forgotten about, because there usually tends to be. I'll always forget 1 or 2 things, and I'll think to myself, shit, I wish I said that now because I should have said it while I was on camera. But sometimes you can only remember a certain amount of things, especially when you've got a camera pointing at your face. So yeah, there you have it. Hope you enjoyed my rant. I do hope you enjoyed the game that I played through, or at least thank you to those that bared through it alongside with me. It does mean a lot. Right, so this is Raiden RZ signing off. Hope to catch you for another game.